Well, hello everybody and welcome back into my aphid farm, also known as my basement garden. There's really not a whole lot of positive that can be said for what's growing on down here compared to what's going on up in the den upstairs. But let's face it, I think the biggest lesson that I have learned since we've been in this location is that what peppers really want is a consistent warm temperature, and when it's not going to be consistently warm, they prefer it goes towards hot rather than too damn cold. So, you know, it's been an educational winter. It's really all I can say for what's growing on down here, but let's take a look at the survivors of this year's aphid wars and see how it's going to be for, you know, the outdoor season start in just about a month. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah, let's take a look at what's still growing on. Almost feel like I should be inserting some sort of tragic "here are the survivors" background sound. You can see I finally transplanted these things out of those little tiny shot glasses. Okay, so my long-term opinion on those is it's a great way to start your seeds, but pretty much you need to transplant out of them as soon as possible. You know, in a lot of cases, bigger is better, you know. Look at Canada. It's a nice big country. It's pretty good here. And let's face it, bigger cups seem to produce larger pepper plants. So we had a lot of losses. I was doing transplants yesterday and just kind of looking at the numbers of, well, dead soldiers, we'll say, for the pepper wars and aphid wars this year. And yeah, the plants did not come out as well as I had actually thought they had. We have a few good varieties that have survived. We've got Bahuchalokia Scorpion Cross there, one brave Santa Fe Grande out of what had half a dozen for a while there. I don't think there are any of the garden salsas that make it. Like, they just don't survive in the basement here. I don't know what's up with that. One yellow Dorset Naga made it. That's pretty tragic. I think there are 3 of the Naga Vipers there. There are a couple of those Bahuchalokia chocolate habaneros. So, I mean, we've got some good heat in what remains, but really, yeah, it was a very tragic winter. This desperately needs to be cleaned up and probably just removed from this location here. I'm going to do a really serious deep clean, I think, in the basement this year for pests, because we have no pets upstairs at the moment that are going to be affected by airborne stuff. So if I cut loose some sort of, I don't know, pest control device, we'll say, Shocks and I can vacate the house for a day and, you know, everything's fine. The pitcher plant seems to be doing all right. Not getting the best light of its life at the moment, but once I get rid of this little garden attempt here, I'll probably angle the Sansi 15 so that it's more directly on this. I'd really like to see what this plant can do when it's completely happy. Haven't quite gotten there yet. Finally getting some decent growth out of it now since it's transplanted to this larger terracotta pot. Don't think I have the soil mix quite right for it yet. But at least it survived for me, you know, and ultimately this thing is kind of massive, right? Like, it's tied up for a reason, otherwise it would be drooping down to the floor. So, little picture there. Here's to hope with that. Here's to hope. The last couple of plants that didn't get transplanted the other day, we have but one lonely kale surviving, but I guess it'll get to go outside fairly soon. Kale can handle the cooler nights, so really I could put that out whenever if I wanted. And what we have here, I believe this is a big chocolate Batman. Very aphid infested, but coming back well. Yesterday this thing was so dry I thought for sure it was going to die, so I didn't transplant it. But now that I see it's taken the moisture back in, I'll put that into one of the larger double cup setups. Let's take a look at what's left on the Darwin table and have a little chat there. So you may recall that last time we saw the Darwin table, I had that seed starting tray on here, right? And I was very hopeful. There was a whole bunch of tomatoes and some leeks that hadn't popped up yet. I had 2 rows of cabbages and a couple of very sturdy, if not, well, okay, lanky, long and lanky, let's just call it a duck, sunflower starts, right? And I took the top off of them because I was following the directions on the container and trying to do it right. And you know what? I came down here and well, what's the nicest way to put this? A rodent of some questionable size and nature had completely wiped out the 2 rows of cabbage seedlings. So I have brought fresh cabbage seeds down today to start, and completely destroyed the soil in the sunflower area and the leek area, but left most of the tomato starts alone. So I moved the seed tray off of the Darwin table because screw them, right? And then, oh, the story gets better. Then there was this foul stench that started coming up in the basement, and I'm like, oh, is that somebody's septic in the spring thaw? Because nasty, we're hooked on the sewer, right? But wait, I'll show you. We have this bucket down here, you see, at the bottom of the water heater, because there is this occasional drip, quite persistent. No matter how tight that gets, we get a drip. So I put that there. It's clean water. I've been using it to water the plants. It's all good. Well, I followed my nose to the source of the stench, and there was a dead mouse floating in there. Smelled quite foul, but you know, I like to believe that some instant karma was served there. He ate my cabbages, got a little thirsty, went for the pool, slipped in and drowned. Take that, mouse. That said, I still armed the trap with fresh peanut butter and made sure the battery's good. Nasty though. So the seed tray is currently back up here on top of the aquaponic garden because I have yet to see evidence of mice traveling up here. So the tomatoes have been saved. One little sunflower is coming up, and like I said, I brought cabbage seeds, so I'm just going to replant these with the 2 varieties of cabbages that were in there, and in the usual fashion, hope for the best. But let's get back to the Darwin table here for a second, because there are a couple of things that still need to be mentioned here. My tower of shot glass planters. Whatever rodent it was ate down last 2 Batman's Hell's Bells peppers. I'm not too happy about that. Totally destroyed this Kangstar Lemon Starburst, but at least the pepper in a bag, unknown pepper variety that is, it seems to be doing okay. Didn't touch the spider plants at all there, so that's good. Not good is the fish food container hydroponic garden. This pepper just, it's nothing but an aphid farm. It is history. It will be gone by, well, probably tonight, I imagine, because I've got a little time to clean up down here. Here's some good news though. The Yahi Guyana, as wilty as this thing looks, has peppers in quite a few fun locations on there. I think I counted 10 confirmed little pepper starts and pepper bums on there, and there are still lots of flowers that could easily be hiding pepper starts. So this is interesting and exciting. Didn't really think this was going to live, so it's probably one of the most positive things going on in the basement garden, especially in the world of peppers. You know, we got another aphid farmer here. This is an unknown pepper variety, I believe, one of the ones that came up out of the compost. This poor Ahi Fantasy. Again, it's a really good aphid farm, but yeah, not much else. I'm looking forward to getting these 2 outside so that the natural predators that are around there can clean them up, and hopefully they can do something positive with what's left of their lives, because it's been really tragic for them up to this point. The oregano over here before we leave the Darwin table seems to be doing alright. I've been nipping the tops off of this to feed the fish. They always seem to enjoy this, and they've really been liking the thyme when I've been bringing some of that down from the AeroGarden upstairs. So, and a quick look at our random collection of houseplants back there. Pan back over to the aquaponic situation here. Just cut down some mint and feed that to chickens a little bit later. Still haven't fully cleaned the roots out of this, so nothing replanted in there yet. Here's the mint that I just whacked the top off of though. These 3 tomatoes seem to be stubbornly surviving. I'm not sure what's going on with this one. It's not looking happy, you know, but it's not like its soil is dry, so yeah, don't get it. Looks like the indigo rose will survive to be transplanted outside though, and this, still unknown. Looks like it'll make it outside. I'll just plant them nice and deep, because the stem will happily form roots on pretty much every tomato variety I've ever encountered, so that'll be a nice deep hole of that. The sage is doing great now that it's under a more central lighting location. Same with the tricolor sage here, now that it's going up instead of kind of over to the side, getting some better growth. Might trim this down a little bit, try and help it bush out. The other mint in the back corner, well, you know, mint in this garden, it just does well, right? As I said, we've still got a lot of tomato starts that made it through the rodent ravaging. Can't see which varieties they are right now because I turned it so that it would kind of drain this way and get these cells nice and moist again. A single sunflower. Whatever, an earlier start there is still an earlier start, and I might actually get some sunflower seeds out of it for a change. Probably should go through here and, well, cull some seedlings. But tomatoes are pretty resilient, and it's not that long before they can go outside, and, well, yeah, lots of tomatoes is better than only a few, isn't it? So, yeah, I don't know. Never know what I'm going to do until it's officially done, right? Let's take a quick look down at the fish. They have been loving the success of the aphid farm. As you can see, they're all pretty fat and happy and healthy. The colors are still very strong in most of these fish. Love that spotted orange and white one, but of course the reflection in the pool right now, not great. Looking forward to changing out the light above this garden so that we can see these guys a little bit better. And I am still toying with the idea of getting one of those LED bug zapper lights, because why not? Free food, right? It's not like they use a lot of wattage. So yes, let's check out the Flora Garden and survivors of the overwintering projects there. This has not necessarily been the best gardening experience in my personal history, but it has been fascinating as far as this mouse melon. I can't say enough how amused I have been by the survival and success of this plant. It's blowing me away, and you know, there's little tiny wannabe mouse melons all over the place. They just need a little time with the pollinators. One there, there's one there, there's one there, there's one there. Oh yeah, so once the temperatures get a little closer to the dungeon temperatures, I'm going to move this out to a semi-shady location. And we'll just see. I'm really excited to see what's going on with that. Kind of toying with the idea of, well, taking the toys out, but maybe moving this trough of spider plants outside as well. We did have that one experimental plant outside last year, and it did really well. The leaves got really broad and sturdy, so that's good. Toying with the idea of taking that little planter up to the stairwell, so you may not see it again in future videos, but house plants and trees are doing a little bit better since I raised the light. Excuse me. Got a frog in my throat. A few random house plants down there. Yeah, it's going to be good to clean up the space and start fresh. I've got a new plan for next winter and the overwintering thing, as in I'm going to not overwinter much of anything. I didn't see any aphids or other pests come in on this, and I think it was Punky who suggested, you know, why not try and just keep this going for year after year. So this might be what I just try and keep over the course of the winter, since it has shown itself to be so content under fluorescent light. But this whole overwintering peppers thing really doesn't work. I'm not going to bother with peppers in the basement anymore, and I'm sure not taking outdoor plants upstairs into the den now that it's finally pest free. I mean, our only real surviving overwintered pepper is that Sugar Rush Creme, and it's just barely hanging on down at the base there. That MOA Scotch bonnet, as we're getting closer to the actual outdoor season, is looking worse every day. So yeah, started off with 22 plants. Looks like I'll be putting one of them back outside. Not the most successful overwintering project out there, but I have bigger, bolder plans for the future anyway, so you know, how like a bear. Mwah, ha, ah. Always got another plan. And on that note, I should probably wrap things up today. So thank you so much for sticking around and joining me as I struggle to maintain a sense of garden through a Manitoba winter. It's not always easy to keep a garden going out here, I tell you what. But it's been, like I said, fabulously educational, and yeah, peppers upstairs, but there are still a lot of things I can grow in the basement, so I'm certainly not done gardening down here by any means. Yeah, stick around. Thursday's going to be interesting as we update the AeroGarden, because I've been messing with the lights and I did a lot of transplants out of there the other day too. So yeah, check back on Thursday. I'll see you guys then. Take care, everybody.